Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete from Anxiety here. Welcome into today's episode. I appreciate y'all being here so much. Let's talk about a few things real quick. The Pete vs. Anxiety Team Anxiety Facebook group. Are you a part of it? You're not? What are you waiting for? The link's down here in the description down below, or go to Facebook and search Pete vs. Anxiety. Then look for the Team Anxiety Team page and join it today. Why not? You can join and help. It'll be great. Yeah, like right now. Hurry up. Stop what you're doing, pause this video, go do it right now. But anyways, let's also talk about the Pete vs. Anxiety YouTube page. If you're here right now, you're probably following it most likely. If not, head on over there, subscribe, be sure to like and comment on the videos and let me know, because all that stuff really helps, guys. I really appreciate it. And help me break the stigma that mental health is talked about enough. But anyways, guys, let's get in today's episode. I'll have a great one. Thank you so much again. And as I always say, don't ask how your day is. Ask how your mental health is today. Guys, welcome to an exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. My guest today is a recovering addict of opioids who suffers from mental health and advocates now for both. He is the host of the Unboxed Thoughts podcast, the one, the only, Nick, or AKA Snicks. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
Good, man. So let's tell us some more about, the podcast itself and a little bit about yourself too, because it's always great. I can do a great intro, but, it's better when it comes from you directly.
Yeah, man. So it started in November of 2022.
Yeah.
I was actually just kicking back at a cousin's house at the time. And I used to watch this show, this boxing podcast on FFN radio, which was right out of the area that I was living in. And it was a really rough time in my life. I was already sober for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? But just how to, still balance everything and shit. And when the podcast was over, I ended up going on their website page and it said looking for new podcast hosts, so on and so forth. And next thing you know, I hit up my buddy Jerry and I was like, yo, man, I seen that your producer had, posted on the page that they're looking for new podcast hosts. I'm like, think you can shoot him a message and, get me in with him? And he's like, dude, just shoot him a message yourself. He's like, let him know your idea, whatever the case is, and we'll get into it. And I was like, cool. I shot him a message, and this is so like him. He kept me marinating for like fucking 2 days. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, he calls me directly. No message back, no nothing. And he was like, hey, my name is Blaze, man. I own the FFN radio. I heard that you wanted to do a podcast. And this is where everything gets really interesting because he's like, you got a name for it? I was like, yeah, it's going to be Unboxed Thoughts. And he goes, oh, he's like, what's it going to be about? I was like, you ever see Seinfeld? And he says, yeah, I have. I was like, that's what it's going to be about. Nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just going to tell these corny fucking stories and like whatever the case is. And he was like, cool, cool. He's like, I like it. So now it's fucking showtime. It's November 21st of 2022. And he's sitting back there. We're talking just like this because of how backstage is. You know what I mean? It's the same concept before you hit live. And he's over there just like ripping his bowl. Nervous as shit, dude. And, I'm like, you're over here asking me if I'm nervous and shit. You know what I mean? Like, are you all right? You a good, my guy? And he's like, all right, just do the thing. And then next thing you know, it was like that countdown, dude.
3, yeah. That's what I used to use too.
1. And the fucking everything is live. And I just remember, it's the first episode, so I'm sitting there like frozen, looking at the camera. Dude, and I just stopped breaking down. Fucking tell, talking about how I'm a fucking, I'm recovering addict. You know what I mean? Like freaking, how my life is. I just go into this entire rant, and the next thing you know, dude, the hour is gone. There's no going back now. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's how it was born, man. I literally just broke down into fucking, just got really emotional, dude.
Yeah, I bet, man. It's rough. The first time we did this one, dude, I was nervous as hell because I've never done a
live recording. I've done other podcasts, like, in my free time. I did some other side projects I was playing around with in the beginning, and it was similar to your concept, just about nothing. I just started recording random stories that I had, and people were listening, and I was like, okay, well, this gets interesting. So I brought in a co-host the second season of this thing, and then that's when it just went to hell in a handbasket because we got out of hand and we had the most random topics possible. So then when this show got in conception, I basically posted out there that I had an idea for a show. This is what it was. I
Yeah.
got reached out to by my podcast network, and they were like, "Hey, listen, I got a new network, da 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 da," and things like that, and all the little small talk that happens. He's like, "Hey, would you be interested in joining our, joining everything and stuff like that too?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Okay, da da da." So, you know,
Yeah.
and that's how it went too, man. And I hit record that first time. I was like, I was nervous as hell. I didn't know how it was gonna go. It was okay. The first one, all right. The second week, we had a woman come on and tell me that she was dead for 5 minutes. I was like, wait, hold up. What was that?
No shit.
Oh, never mind that one. But yeah, man, I've had some wild moments on this show, man. Like when you host people, you don't know what the hell they're gonna say on the other side of that window, man. And it gets crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, like I never even got to any of those like useless stories or anything. Like once I aired that first show, it was like there's no going back now. And people are already like engaged. And it just kept becoming more and more of a success as the shows kept coming.
Yeah, man. I love the idea of the Seinfeld thing because I'm like, dude, I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld's one of my favorite shows
Dude,
of all
mine
time.
too. My girlfriend fucking hates it, I think.
Yeah,
but because I probably, a lot of my reactions and shit like that are shit that I'd be quoting from it.
oh
You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
agree.
But dude, regardless, yeah, like right after that show aired, me and my producer, we went back and chatted because we'd always chat right after this too.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he goes, "Well, I thought I was gonna get like a Seinfeld type segment and all this other shit." And he's like, "You just like blew the roof off this fucking place." He's like, "And all you did was fucking going." And it was like my every week mission. Now, you know what I mean? Because as I said,
Yeah.
I was down in the dumps, dude. I was severely depressed. I was getting ready to freaking hang it all up and shit like that. And then I start this podcast, talking about, my journey through addiction and, going through recovery and my experience with mental health. It really makes people feel like, they're not alone.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and if you ask a lot of people that know me, I'd prefer to touch on those subjects that nobody wants to chat about.
Yeah, no, I
That's
like
what
that.
makes me interesting. Why do we got to turn a blind eye to it?
That's why I liked what I was watching when you were recording, man. The fact that you just the realism of you, you're just like, let's just jump into this shit, put the band-aid off and get in there. I was like, hell yeah, I like this guy already. This is what I'm talking about. Because I'm the same way, man. Like we have these conversations that people don't want to have, man. I've had people talk about how they almost killed themselves several times in the show. And one guy went into a great description, actually. That was the oh shit moment at the beginning of the year. And mind you, we're out to what are we at now? May now? Like
Yeah,
we've had some wild people come on this show and say some things, but that guy topped it all, man. But it was like it was so surreal for people to see when he started talking about it because people were getting uncomfortable real quick, especially when you talk about suicide. The world starts unhinging because they don't want to talk about the uncomfortable subjects. And
yeah,
he had told somebody, he's like, "Hey, Peter, sit at the edge of the bed." And he's like describing it to me in great detail, and I'm just like, "Oh God, what is happening next?" Because you're worried about getting your stuff flagged on YouTube and things like that. But so far, YouTube hasn't really given me a problem with anything I've done so far. The network has been totally supportive of everything I do. I go live more than just my weekly show because they're like, if there's any gaps in the time schedule, man, just go for it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just fill it in with some content for you. Why not? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So okay, cool. Here we go. And I've met the most interesting people since hitting click record, man, and things like that too.
yeah. And you know, I aired like it was 4.5 seasons of
Yeah.
that show. Because like I said, um, I was on a place called FFN Network. The guy who runs it, his name is Blaise St. Pierre. Amazing guy. I
Yeah,
mean, like
sounds like it.
no matter the difference and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'll always have a lot of love and respect for the old man because he gave me a foot in the door.
Yeah.
He gave me an outlet. And that's where everything, started for me, man, was doing that podcast. And then next thing you know, I end up going into, another big creators chat here on TikTok.
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, that's my mother, by the way, Kimberly Ann.
Hello, how you doing?
We got some amazing people actually right now in the chat. You guys joined quick.
Yeah, you got a lot of computer. Here's one of the comments I wanted to pull back up was Phoenix of Ashes' comment.
Yep.
Having the uncomfortable conversations of what makes those topics more known and brings light to the darker things. I think that's an amazing point, Phoenix, by the way.
Yeah. Like I said, I like talking about those subjects that nobody else really will. You know what I mean? They just turn a blind eye to it. Like it's not like it's not an ongoing problem or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten myself into a lot of fucking shit, dude. Like when I first started doing this, like I thought I thought my producer's YouTube channel was gonna get fucking taken down, man. Because when it comes to mental health and opioid addiction,
yeah,
I kind of feel like, our higher ups, maybe presidents, senators, state representatives, governors, mayors. I've always, had no problem calling a lot of them out for not basically doing their job. They'll run like these events and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just for like campaign issues to help get themselves a vote and shit like that. But even when you narrow it all down, bro, like what are people really doing for anybody that suffer from addiction?
Nothing.
Or mental health. I mean, really nothing nowadays. And it's fucking sad, dude. It's absolutely sad. You know what I mean? And then they'll do these fundraisers, as I was saying. They'll raise all this fucking money. And then next thing you know, it's like, what'd you do with it? And now you come on fucking social media, guy, and that shit. Like that's what makes that makes a good portion of what I do very important too.
Yeah, man. I think it's interesting because you hit on all the right points. Like, what are we doing about these problems? Zero. We blame this problem all the time. School shootings, things like that. Mental health's the issue. Okay, so do we address the issue? No, we don't address the issue. We just sweep it under the rug and say, okay, we'll deal with that at a later time. Let's go worry about something that doesn't matter about the whole thing. It's so stupid.
Yep. It's up to us to come together and help each other. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic comment, by the way.
I
love it, guys.
And you can ask me any question you want. I'm
yeah, man. So listen. So when you started in the beginning, how far out of recovery were you? Because it had to be interesting to relive those things. I know a lot of people don't like to relive their trauma, but I think at the same time it helps people understand that they're not alone. And I'm sure that's why a lot of people are attracted to you, man. Just your personality alone, man. I love it. It's great, dude.
So that's a really good question because I tell people this a good portion of the time. It is really hard, man. It is really fucking hard to relive a lot of those stories, a lot of the mistakes that I have done and stuff like that. It's like going down this rabbit hole all over again. And I would disappear, you know what I mean, from a lot of people for like, a couple days or a week at a time or whatever after airing an episode and stuff like that. And my mother, actually, who she's even in the comments right now, I've always told her ever since the first episode that ever aired of Unboxed Thoughts, like she's a strong one, man, because she went through everything with me too at that time, and she literally watched every fucking episode.
We could see you, Dark Wolf, by the way. So not to cut you out there, Nick. He wanted to make sure we could see him.
What is it?
Dark Wolf wanted to make sure you could see him, brother.
Oh yes, I can. Thank you, Dark Wolf. Good to see you, sweetheart. But yeah, man, like it was really hard. I would go, off the map for a couple days, a week or so, without anybody hearing or speaking to me. Like, it got rough, but that's why we ended up coming to TikTok eventually and building Pyro. Because after so many episodes of like reliving those real life events and stuff like that, like, dude, I'd be in such a dark place, was like I really needed that outlet. Like, I couldn't just keep doing unboxed thoughts anymore. And you know what I mean? And that's where it was like, I never wanted anybody to confuse the two. You know what I mean? Unboxed thoughts was always going to be its own thing, but Pyro on TikTok was my outlet. You know what I mean? That would help me get through everything and shit like that. And, I regret some things with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't have it any other way either. You know what I mean? The lessons learned and stuff, when you mix up the platforms, you know what I mean? When you're coming from a place like this, and then you go into a whole nother animal, I mean, such as TikTok, like, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I try to teach my guys, or, you know what I mean, or show my guys every day. Like, we've all been through our own, personal trauma, or like our own life experiences and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but not everybody is willing to be as open about it or talk about it. And I get it, man. I get why people find that shit out about you. And the next thing, they're your friend right here, and then they're going to get the next.
Yeah.
I mean, when they no longer need you, people are fucking cruel, man. They really are. But I've never wanted anybody to feel like they were alone.
Yeah, man. And that's awesome.
And I get it.
I get that 100%. It's awesome, dude. I think it's great that you want to make sure people feel included. And the fact you're so real about everything, man, you could just tell the authenticity about yourself. Like, you just like bear it all out there. It's like, hey, man, this is what it is. Like, you take it at face value. I don't know what to tell you. And a lot of people aren't ready for those kind of conversations, and I think it's great that you're forcing the conversation. So welcome to the party, man. Like, I'm late to be here, but shit, dude. It's because people like you started having these conversations that things like this even take off as much as they do, man. And, and it's great because there's so many other people that align into the same situation we do. I'll talk about all these other stuff. And I think this is another great point, guys, by the way, right here. We all have our own stories. We do have our own stories.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the great thing about this show is that, like, I invite anybody to come on that wants to come share their story, because I'll let you have the voice to say it. Like I said, I love it because somebody out here will hear it, somebody will see it, and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, that's awesome." Because if you only touch one person's heart, that's it, man. You've done enough. Like, you've won the battle already. There, and it's great when you have people such as Nick that want to share all these kind of things with you and just kind of give you the thoughts that are going through his head, because a lot of people don't want to do those kind of things, and it's hard for them. So. Well,
Right,
Liz said she's proud of you, by the way. Liz, I thank you so much for commenting. Guys, I appreciate all the comments you guys are having. I'll put them up as they go on the screen here, so I apologize if I'm a little behind here. But thank you all for coming so much, supporting him, man.
Yeah, I see you guys down there. I appreciate everybody for being here. Much love and respect. It's been a while since we've been on anything like this, so it's actually kind of cool. It's kind of nostalgic, and I'm pretty comfortable too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, man. Listen, I got a couple other shows to talk to you about too that I'd love for you to go on and share your story, man. Get you a little more out there. I have a small network of podcasters I work with right now that we share. A lot of people that come on our shows and things like that, dude. So trust me, there'll be a couple other ones I'll talk to you about too. And it's things like that, man. And I think what you're doing, I'm telling you, I love the Seinfeld concept. I just think it fucking makes me laugh. For anybody that knows what Seinfeld was, knows the show was just so good because it was absolutely about nothing, dude. You just literally had no real concept of what's going on. Oh, I believe it, dude.
Just complaining and fucking nagging about just regular life events or situations that happen throughout the day. Nick says it's been an inspiration to me since meeting him. His support for people is unwavering.
Listen, I can tell you just from the first 5 minutes of meeting this guy that's 100% true, man. Like I said, he just gives off that real positive energy. You could just feel it coming from him.
Yeah, and as I was telling you, man, like, that's why it's, so important for me. Like, one of my favorite questions that people have asked me over time is, what makes you think, or like, what makes me stick out more to maybe like other content creators or whatever the case is out there?
Yeah.
And from the pyro standpoint, and it was always free. It would never come with like a fucking subscription, like what some people would do or whatever. When I ever aired on pyro, like right in my link tree, it would give the link right to Unboxed Thoughts.
Yeah.
Which actually we have now on TikTok.
Awesome.
And we can talk, like I left the network, I went on my own, I got my own software, and now it's on TikTok. But people would always just judge on what the fuck was going on from the pyro standpoint. But then they'd go and watch an episode of Unboxed Thoughts, and then they would be like, this can't be that guy. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
What is he got? Fucking conflicting personalities, or like is he contradicting himself? But I've always said from the very beginning, it's not a mind game. It's not a fucking trick question. This is the pyro. Like, if you want to see another side of me, go on my link tree. I offer my personal life. I look into my own experiences with addiction and mental health. I mean, get to know me there before you come over here and you take anything that I say, you know what I mean, the wrong way, or you judge me about it, or whatever the case is.
So tell me about Technical Difficulties. Is that your original show?
No, dude. So it's kind of funny because, like, yeah, it's from Darko. So when we first started Unboxed Thoughts, dude, like the pre-show, and just like I said, because you can always chat when you're on the air and off backstage, right? So everything would be running smoothly. You can hear me, I can hear you, vice versa. It's great. The second we'd go live, bro. The second we'd go live, you know, technical difficulties, losing service. I've got no audio. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, I mean, a lot of like Doc Wolf. I mean, and there's a couple of other people on the chat too. They've been with me since basically, you know what I mean, the very first season, at least, of Unboxed up till now, which, you know, we're looking at 4 years later, 5 years later.
You know, the funny story, Nick, though, is that most people don't make it past 20 episodes. And I mean, I could see it, though. At the beginning, I had technical difficulties. Week 3 of the show, we had a guest on, and me and her we were having a great conversation. All of a sudden, that's it. Just all hell starts. It's like, God damn it, what is going on? And I'm like, I didn't know a lot of the technical side of everything at that point. You know, I didn't realize what I needed and I didn't need, because I was like, you know, I was having audio troubles, having internet connection issues. She couldn't hear me. I could hear her, kind of thing. And it was just like, oh God, here we go. This is never going to work, you know, but that was like episode 3. We're now at episode live 100 this past Monday. I do have some backdated content.
How many?
I have 100 live episodes as of Monday.
Nice, dude.
So 100 of these live episodes. This is not all the recorded episodes now. I have other stuff I recorded prior to starting the show, because September 15th is when the show started originally. So we're not even a year into this thing and already have 100 episodes live.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's been like, you know, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it for the congratulations. It's like, it's been interesting ever since when you hit record. Though some of the interviews I don't air are just ones I couldn't. Like, I have one lady named The Swearing Therapist. I literally, probably the most interesting episode I've ever done, because her theory to everything was, she said fuck like 20,000 times. I was like, okay, well, I got a Patreon I got to fill up. So here, let me put you in there for that one, because I wasn't sure what I could get away with YouTube. But so far, you know, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it, man. If I get flagged for something, I get flagged for something at this point. I'm gonna try and be as genuine as possible when it comes to these topics, you know. And so far, I really haven't had any problems. You know, like, you get those ever so often, these people that comment stupid shit on your videos, but I look at them and laugh. I don't let the negativity comments really bother me, because sometimes you get somebody that gets triggered by something you say in one of your clips, because I do a lot of YouTube shorts and all these other things and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it gets interesting after a while, man. It really does, you know. And I do a lot of podcast spots too. I'll go on a lot of guest shows. I've been on Emotionally Unavailable. Did one called The Podcasters Nation with a gentleman named Rory. Was my first one I ever did that morning of the show too. So like, he's like, what's your plans for the show? I'm like, oh, actually, there's at 10 o'clock today. He goes, 10 o'clock today? I'm like, yeah, man. I'm kind of like a little busy today, you know. And you know, it's been great, man. It's been fun. I meet new people all the time. I even met a woman that does a project called, she did one called Are You Happy? She had like some millions of people that followed her. And all she did was go on the street and ask you a question. She ran up to a random guy, excuse me, are you happy? And then record what your response was. And now she does her own project. It's called Humanity 2.0. And I was on that one too. And it was interesting because she asked this question. She says, what does humanity mean to you? And I was like, damn, that's a really great question. So now that's my question to you, man. What does humanity mean to you? Mind you, I'm going to clip this. I'm going to send it to her because she'll put this on her page for me.
What does humanity mean to me?
You? Yeah, man. Isn't it an interesting question?
Dude, that is. I'm gonna.
You think about that when we come back. We'll circle back to that one when you're ready.
Yeah, dude, come back to me on that because I don't know how the rest of the show is gonna go now because I'm gonna be burning brain cells. Fucking thinking of this, you know what I mean?
Dude, I love asking people that question now because I'm like, think about it. It's such a great question.
That is a really good question.
So, and I also got invited to come do one on my guest Tuesday. They won one called the Mental Perk. I think they record here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're like,
is that where you're out of?
I'm out of Dallas-Fort Worth, yeah.
Nice.
So, and it was interesting because I was like, they're like, oh, hey, we'll have you come in the studio sometime. I was just like, that's so surreal, man. I was like, really? Hell, I heard my name being mentioned on a podcast the other day between two people that had no idea I knew both of them. And it was funny when they both realized, hey, oh, you know Pete too? I'm like, I guess everybody knows me now. Shit, I guess I can't hide anymore. So, but.
Dude, it's nuts because, the network would air all their, the episodes of Unboxed Thoughts on YouTube too. And then when I finally ended up getting my own YouTube page and all that other shit, I'd load up previous ones on there as well. And it's crazy, like the people that you'll come across at such the most randomest times. And you're just like, I know you. You know what I mean? And they're like, this guy fucking... He sounds like he's known me his whole life, and I don't know nothing about him.
Right, Yeah, it happens, man. People mention me all the time, like going to some TikTok rooms too. They're all like shouting my name out, and I'm like, oh, y'all know me or something? Like I forget I post stuff places because like I deal with imposter syndrome a lot of times, and it's crazy, when you get these people that all want everything. Like people helping all living things, all expression. I love it, D. I'm going to clip this part right here. I'm going to send it over to her, and we're going to try and get it put on our page because she said she would. She's told me every time somebody answers that question, she'd clip them and send them. I'll clip them and send them over to her and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, man, I had that moment a couple times. Like people mention my name all the time, and then it's like, oh, okay, you know who I am? And it's like, and then some people are like, yeah, man, I've listened to your show before and everything like that. And I was like, okay. It's so surreal when people say they start listening to what you're talking about. And it's like, oh yeah, I get random people that come to me all the time like, hey, listen, I appreciate what you're doing and things like that. I love it. And I'm like, oh, you're watching my show? Like I forget at times I have a podcast that's out there, and it's like it catches you off the most random moments too, and then like when you get mentioned on a podcast and you're like, okay. So I literally listened to myself like 10 times. Maybe that's egotistical. Maybe I just like hearing the words, my name being mentioned somewhere. And I was just like, this is crazy though. How far my reach is now.
It's actually nuts because, and I feel like it's important to touch on this because it goes hand in hand with your question that you asked. When you ask somebody like me and I hear the question, what do I expect of humanity or what do I think of humanity or what should it be, in my opinion, I hold myself, honest to God, man, to such a high standard when answering that question. And sometimes, like, just you asking me that, I must have had like 5 different arguments going on in my fucking head because it's almost like, is that really asshole-ish of me to say? Is that really like contradicting?
Listen,
you know what I mean? But I expect a lot out of human. I feel like because of things that I have done and I've admitted to, I've told many stories about it, right? I kind of feel like if it was somebody as an asshole of my standards, right? Because I've done a lot of bad things, man.
Yeah.
A lot of bad things. And it goes beyond just, the addiction and stuff like that. But like, if I can admit that, like, I kind of feel like everybody else should really be fessing up to their shit, owning up to their mistakes, fixing their mistakes, helping each other out when we're needing, instead of just, thinking just because your problems ain't the same as theirs or theirs ain't the same as yours, now you're gonna
Yeah.
fucking judge them and all this other shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel
No.
like there is a lot of wrong in fucking humanity right now. You know what I mean? I really do.
You're
I
not wrong
really
for having
do.
an opinion, man. That's your opinion of what it means to you, kind of, you know, and you're not wrong. Like,
But you know what? That is such a great question. Like I kind of feel like everybody and their mother should be asked that same exact question.
there's actually a link on my TikTok page for anybody that wants to stitch it. There is a video up there that asked that question. It was right after I did the interview with her, like a couple days later. I was like, it started like building in my head. It's like, fuck it, let's just put it out there and see what happens. If you guys stitch it too, she'll put it on her TikTok page and everything else too, because I tag her in all the videos that people respond in and things like that. So if y'all want to do it, go ahead and do it. It's awesome. I mean, I appreciate all the other people checking it out and things like that. But yeah, man, it was interesting because she's like, well, hey, listen, May's Mental Health Awareness Month. I was like, okay. She said, your episode is going to air right away there. I was like, okay, here we go. It's like, it's so surreal, man. Because like I was listening to one of my other interviews I did, and it was just interesting. It's called Emotionally Unavailable. And this woman that runs it, Melissa, is a good friend of mine. She basically just hits click record and just goes for it, man. And it's funny to listen to some of these conversations she's having with people. Like they get out of hand quick. And I was like, you know what? I like that idea though. Like when you have a general conversation with somebody versus like drilling them with questions, you get more organic answers out of people, man. And it's just like your personality comes through real quick, and it shows with you though, man. You can see all these people are here because of you, man. Like they all love everything you're doing, what you're giving off that energy, man, using your own mistakes to turn around and make it a positive, and things like that. Hell, even your mom's even here. That says a lot, man. Even mom's backing you up, man. It means you're doing something right in the world.
So when I had left the network with my show, I had bought into Restream as well.
Yeah.
Do my own shows, bring it on there, and I can still do it. I still own and fucking have the software, right? But I don't. I ended up bringing it to TikTok. Man, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Since episode 1, because of how raw and everything it is, I promised myself I'm never bringing this to TikTok. I bring this to TikTok, I could say goodbye to that account. Just when I think shit's wild on our Pyro account, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I could fucking say one wrong, and this is cooked.
Yeah.
And I've aired probably like, I don't know, I want to say like maybe 10 streams. I mean, it's hard to call them episodes now, not being on, something like this anymore. You know what I mean? I just call them streams.
They're still episodes, man. Regardless of what you look at it, they're still episodes.
And I mean, like, I kind of feel like it's nothing like what it used to be. You know what I mean? Because it's really, honestly, it's like when you're coming in here, it's just like it's go mode. You can just let it fly. You can fucking just say whatever. You don't have to go on something like such as TikTok and then have to sugarcoat everything, because now I'm arguing even more in my fucking head where it's like, how do I word this? I didn't fucking prep this. And I am not a scripted person.
No, God, no, I'm not either, man.
You know what I mean? I don't like scripts. I don't do notes.
No.
A lot of people get on my ass about it too, you know what I mean? And I just let it fly as how it sits in my
man.
head.
I think it works real great. I prep a little bit beforehand. I'll know what they're talking about, but I let the guests pretty much be the highlight of the show when we're talking about things, because it's always new things you're learning from all these different people that come on. So I have I have all the ends of the spectrum coming on to talk to me about weird things. I even talked to a guy about sex addiction for a whole hour. Like, that was an interesting conversation. Like, most people are like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I read a book about, breast cancer and things like that. A lady had wrote a memoir, asked me if I'd read it. I was like, yeah, why not? I'll read it. So she sent me a copy, signed the book, and things like that too. So I get books all the time if people don't want me to read them. And I'm always fascinated to read them. Like, I'll read it. Like, send it to me. I'll check it out. Like, I want to see, read it and everything else like that. I try to read them before the interview if I can. I think one or two didn't have the book out yet when they got on the interview, but this is fine. I told them I still read it, which I still am. I read one about a narcissistic ex, because, my ex, she was a big narcissist. She's actually a covert narcissist. For anybody who doesn't know what that means, like, she'll look like she's the greatest thing to the world to everybody else, but behind closed doors, she's the devil in the flesh, basically, essentially. And, and I've met a lot of people that are like some best-selling authors that me and them, their stories line up, man. And it gets interesting every time when you start meeting these new people. Hell, I had a lady that is a part of the band Hunter, the lead singer. She came on. And she had like, she's almost had like, I think almost 1 million downloads now for a couple of her songs. And she was the coolest person ever, man. Like once you hit go, you didn't realize how big of a mental health advocate she was. And it was amazing, to hear how much support she had in it. Cause I just randomly messaged her on her account one time and I was like, hey, listen, I was wondering, and I just pitched her and she's like, heck yeah, man. And it's like, it's really cool to see, how many people are willing to talk about the subject, and it's just, I try to bring in random people from different things like musicians. All these people play parts in these things, because a lot of us use music to soothe us when we're in those real hard times. I had a woman I hear that's got a film named Stephanie Aycock. She's got a film where she's trying to change the perception of what we look at for mental health awareness, So her movie is going to have a little comedy aspects to it, but it's a little bit her life splashed in there too, which is so cool because I think she's the woman I met before everything really changed, because when I met her, she had told me about this site I'm using now where I get a lot of my guests from and things like that. And that's from there. I've had the most interesting conversations. Hell, I had a conversation with a woman for an hour about plant music. And I didn't think that. I was like, at first, I'm like, all right, let's give this a shot. Why not? And it was interesting to hear what she was saying, because it's like, whoa, that's really cool, because it relates to a lot of things that you didn't realize it, and like energy healing is a big thing for me now, man. Like, and I found a lot about myself, and it's like, I basically feel like it's when you're getting to now, it's like a journey of my own self-discovery. I find more things out about myself as I meet more people and learn new things about myself as I go that I never know. And I'm almost 40 now. So man, you can never you're never too old to learn anything at this point. So
yeah, I just turned 36 in January.
We a couple old guys. I know we know what Seinfeld is, so we're past everybody at this point.
Dude, it's funny because a lot of them will make jokes about me and call me old man or fucking whatever the case is. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I feel like I'm in my prime most days now more than ever. But at the end of the day, man, like, because I don't only, dude, like I said, I'm so busy, man. I put Unboxed Thoughts on the back burner. This will be 2 months. I haven't done nothing with it.
Yeah.
And I'm also a team lead also for an agency on TikTok.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about that too.
You know what I mean? So we were able to bring, Team Pyro over there.
Yeah.
You know awesome. What I mean? We do we just do so much, man, and I'm just so like crowded. You know what I mean? Every single day, where it's like I wouldn't know how to do an episode of Unboxed Thoughts right now if I fucking tried. Yeah. And sitting here right now, I honestly got to say, like, you know what I mean? It's very nostalgic for somebody like me. You know what I mean? Because it was something like this where it got like, oh, Snick's old man. Yeah.
I was waiting for you to see that one, dude. I'm dying as I'm reading it over here. I'm like, oh, yeah, we got to put this one up here.
Dude, but like, and in all reality, I think that's why it probably makes me mad too. Because like a part of me thinks it's like true, man. You know what I mean? Like I've lived such a long life already at a short amount of time because of, whether if it was, dealing with addiction, you know what I mean? Like I started smoking marijuana, my guy, at a very young age.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? And fucking next thing you know, it just severely, progressed over time. I think I was like 10 years old, 9 years old or some shit when I had my first beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
those are all normal things for us. So, Dad's like, here, you want to taste a little sip of this? This is what it is.
I've had those too, but like, you ever seen like, oh, you have that dumb uncle or whatever the case is, like, there ain't kids running around. You know what I mean? Just put it right on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, just go walking right over to it, like, Mom's gonna love me today, nap time.
Right? No nap for me, baby. I'm going
those
solo.
Types of scenarios. Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? Like those types of scenarios.
Yeah.
But like, no matter what the situation was, it progressed over time. Yeah. I mean, it'd be on and off. And my last stint with addiction made no sense. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Does it ever make sense, though? It's a real question for you.
You know what? But some other, like, it's not that it makes sense, because I've always told everybody, like, I believe there is a difference between a reason and an excuse.
Yeah.
The reason is more legit, whereas an excuse is just a cover up, a lie, or whatever the case you want to call it, right? But like my last stint, dude, like I was working a really good job. I was making great fucking money. You know what I mean? Like I had, numerous cars. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I finally got an SUV that I've been wanting for like so many years prior. You know what I mean? I was able to get another car on top of that. You know what I mean? Like didn't have to worry about bills being paid. Everything was great. And next thing you know, my guy, freaking all it took was like to be burnt out from working so many hours. You know what I mean? And not thinking of like anything really. It was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this for a little bit. You know what I mean? To help give me that booster. You know what I mean? And I'd be all set. Dude, does it ever start like that?
No. No, never
No,
does.
bro.
A lot of times, it
Especially
starts
when you
from,
already had an addictive behavior your whole life.
yeah, that too. And a lot of people are trying to self-medicate for things that they're dealing with instead of dealing with them directly. So
Yeah. Like, and that's another big thing about still even streaming in general or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like I've lost my way in a lot of different things.
yeah,
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, sometimes I feel so burnt out. I feel like but like the people who I've been with for so years now, like they gotta constantly remind me too. You know what I mean? Of where, because like I said, man, when I tell you like Pyro is a whole different side of the ball game and shit like that. I mean, to have a conversation like this or to like go on a platform such as Unboxed Thoughts, it's almost like a way of rehumbling myself, re-navigating my roots.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Remembering where I came from. Like
No, I get that
I don't know,
completely, man. I completely get that 100%, man. Do you ever find it hard to disconnect though? Like if you get so addicted to the internet, since you say you have an addicted personality, so like TikTok and everything else, is it hard sometimes for you just to take a minute to unplug and just like do just Nick? Because I know sometimes it's hard for people. They get so addicted, they feel like if they don't show up, people are gonna be disappointed and things like that. Do you ever have to remind yourself, like, listen, life goes on. You guys, if they love me, they'll be here when I get back. And obviously these guys do, because they're not here just for no reason.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you something. Right before we came back into the agency,
Yeah.
which was late August, early September of last year, dude, I was gone for 8 months. I was gone for 8 months. I didn't stream on no TikTok. I didn't fucking. I mean, I would still do my unboxed thoughts and shit, but even then, I took time off from doing. You know what I mean? Because like, just sort of. But like, now it's to a point where like I do these different characters.
Yeah, I've seen one of them before. I was really impressed, man. I like the makeup and everything. It's really cool.
Thank you. Big shout out to my girlfriend too in the chat. She helps me out with a bunch of it. Other than even Maurice now. Maurice was my first ever character. You know what I mean? Like my first baby, and for like even to have her help me out with that particular character, because I was doing it on my own. It's almost just like I'll get like a little like, no, babe, like it's gotta be like this, but like we've got to the point now where we've got two other characters on top of it. So having said that, like when you get so lost in these characters, sometimes it's almost like another high. It's like an adrenaline. You get so lost in the character. Whereas when I sit on a regular live, like the next day or the day after, I forget my social skills, or things would be awkward. You know what I mean? Or I don't know what to say. Where so like I'm still getting used to it, because it's almost just like, is it people that really appreciate the character more? Do they appreciate me, or am I just so stuck right now in that character where I don't know how to kind of have a conversation with you guys? I need somebody to lead here.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's funny though, because when you say different characters and getting lost in me, and another guy I talked to, he has a background in he has a PhD actually in psychology. He is a talent agent for many people that have been on a lot of shows. He said that we've probably seen a lot of his clients. He just didn't want to, put their names out there. But he said that, maybe we'll see what your thoughts on this. He says that the Joker role that Heath Ledger took is the reason he took his life. What do you think?
Yeah,
You think so?
absolutely.
Because these guys, because you'll understand this completely, because you get so lost in those characters, it's like you lose reality a lot of times. And the same thing for the other guy that played the one for the Suicide Squad Joker. Like he was talking about doing some wild stuff, and I was like, dude. But we don't understand their process of things. You may understand better because you get lost in the characters sometimes, as you were saying. because you can understand it better than anybody. But a lot of people just seeing there like, oh, it's no big. It takes a lot for these guys to play these certain roles and things they do. Like Robin Williams is a one I like to highlight a lot, man. Robin dealt with a lot in his head at the same time. Like, I wonder if some of those voices he was making were the other voices he was hearing, though. You know what I'm saying? Because they said he may hallucinate too in his condition.
And that's why I gotta say, because there was another content creator, that I would love watching. And I remember asking him the same thing one day. You know what I mean? He was like, no, whatever. Maybe he wasn't at the time. Maybe it didn't hit him yet. But I would understand why somebody would want to hide such a thing too. Whereas with me, I got to say I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Because we've got 3 different characters. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I have Maurice for anybody who's a Little Monsters fan.
Yep.
All right. I do Maurice.
Yes, I love it.
We have the Leprechaun and we have Zane. And each 3 of these characters have their own type of personalities. Whereas Maurice is the trickster and the prankster. You know what I mean? Fucking the Leprechaun is just like this fucking, sick, hilarious type fucking, fun to get into the vibe. And Zane is more of the asshole.
Yeah.
So I have these different characters that I can migrate to depending on my mood.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's therapeutic because I'm able to let some of those frustrations out, in particular type of ways. You know what I mean? Whereas people still do it. They get offended. they get offended, but it's just like
people get offended by anything. People get offended by anything these days, man. It's nothing new.
Yeah, but yeah, man.
But that's awesome, man. I like it. I thought when I heard Maurice, I'm like thinking, is he talking about Little Monsters? And you could just confirm them, like, damn, we're old, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Fred Savage
Howie
and all
Mandel
like
and all that fucking makeup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Howie Mandel. And what is it? Did you find out Howie Mandel did the voice of Bobby to Bobby's World? And
Bobby's World. Yeah.
It's so creepy at the same time when he starts doing the voice. You're like, yeah, okay, dude. Whatever you say.
Is this the same fucking guy that I just watched that movie with a little kid sneaker putting fucking chocolate syrup on? Now he's over here.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what?
He's voicing the kid.
It was interesting because I'm an anime fan too. I didn't realize that Kid Goku and Kid Gohan were both voiced by a female voice actor. You would never know. And I got to meet her in person one time. And actually, because me and my wife were dating at the time, it was something she'd know I was big into. And she looked up this little small get together they were having in her town. And she was there. I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, get out of here. And she did the voice for me and everything, too. It was so cool. I was laughing.
Like Bart Simpson, too. Wasn't Bart Simpson voiced by a female?
Yep, that, too. Yeah. There's tons of videos of her out there driving into drive-thrus and start ordering as Bart Simpson. I was just dying laughing. I'm like, oh, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Isn't it, dude? It's just so funny to find out, though. And it's like, then I found out that Zordon from the Power Rangers is actually from a town here in Texas. I met the guy that actually did a theater production before he did the whole Power Rangers thing. The same voice he used, in fact, was something that he did too. Ash from Pokemon as well. A good point too. There's Sponge Cake said that Ash from Pokemon is a girl as well. And and it was funny to find out that Zordon is actually from here. And then Happy the cat from Fairy Tale, for anybody knows, the little cat. She's actually a student of somebody from the same town that Zordon is from. And it was like so interesting to see how many people actually live in the same state I do that do a lot of these voice acting things. And it's so cool to see, though, when you realize that, how like real they are. It's like you see these people as their character, but you don't know half the time you don't even know who the hell's voicing them.
Yeah, dude. And Texas in general is lit.
Yeah, there's a lot of
talent.
Well, because the Funimation studios where Dragon Ball Z and all them were recording things are all here. So I know that a lot of the guys hang around the area, and I know they go to a lot of places around here that I hear all the time. Like, I know Android 20 is here, Krillin's here, Vegeta's here. I think Goku is here sometimes. I don't know if he stays here. I know Whis, which is in Dragon Ball Super. I met his cousin. So that's how I got an autograph from him, personalized autograph from him. It was really cool to see, though. I was like, listen, I know this is a lot. You think your cousin will sign something for me? I'm a massive fan. Like, I was showing her this. I'm like, let me show you this collection of pops I had, dude. I had like 300 plus at one point. And it was bad, man. It was bad. I had to narrow it down. But yeah, it was so cool because when you get to meet these guys, they're so cool to talk to because like they're just like some of them are just so real, and some people are just like, you know, you get a mixed reactions on how they feel. It's like, you know, they're just people at the end of the day, man. And I think that's what people need to realize when it comes to that kind of stuff is that like everybody has shitty days, man, but that's what makes them human at the end of the day.
Yeah. Dude, I'm never afraid to admit that I've had a shitty day. Like, if it's not already like fucking known by the look on my face, the tone of my voice. I mean, like, I feel like the hardest thing is like, apologizing to certain people after having a shitty day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I also feel like throughout time, I've fessed up and admitted to a bunch of different things that I was sorry for.
Yeah.
Whereas, so like, there'd be sometimes I'd be, giving a sorry or whatever the case is. And then you get those people that'd be like, oh, get it, man. That was like, I'm so used to handing out and I'm sorry. Whereas to like, I don't know what more you want me to fucking do. You're lucky you even get one. And in about 2 seconds, I'm no longer going to be sorry. So just take it.
Listen, let me ask you a question though. Was it
Yeah.
hard? Is it hard to get forgiveness, or like, you know, how to accept it? You know, for like people that didn't accept your sorry, was it hard for you to like realize that, hey, listen, I did something terrible things, and you know, when you were coming clean about these things to people, was it hard to get over that hump of like, you know, oh well, I mean, I get a sorry back from certain people?
So that last week, right? Because I ended up going into rehab and stuff like that, and then I ended up getting locked up afterwards. A warrant was popped.
Yeah.
So that last week really helped mentally prepare me for any bad that may come out, or negative comments or whatever. And at the end of the day, if you finally realize your fuck ups and your wrongs, you just reaching out to that particular person, making amends with them, and forgiving yourself, whether if they forgive you, because that's the bonus.
Yeah.
All right, because they don't have to.
Yeah.
That's a bonus, and you take that shit and you fucking never fuck up again. Whereas if they don't, that's on them. They have that right. And us as an individual have to learn to accept that.
Yeah.
Once again, I think I was very fortunate for that because, I was able to mend a good portion of my relationships, walk away from certain situations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's hard, man.
I think that's the hardest part for me, though. It's like my mom banning me when I was 10, man. And I just like, I think that's the part I struggle with the most is the forgiveness thing. Because it's been like 30 plus years of the ripple effect. And now looking back at a lot of it, I think it's what pisses me off more. And that's the hardest part is like, I know I won't ever get a sorry or any genuine reason. I feel like she'll just say it because I'll want to hear it. And I'm like, it won't be good enough for me. And it's one of those things I constantly battle with all the time. It's just getting over that hump of forgiveness, knowing that I will not ever get a forgiving message from her, any of that kind of stuff and things like that. And then I won't, or I'll get it. I won't feel like it's genuine enough for me, And it's just something I deal with all the time, man. And it's hard because I used to hold grudges really bad to people and things like that. And a lot of people say it's my star sign that causes me to do that and things like that. And at first I tell you you're crazy, but I think it may be what it is because a lot of it, when you start looking at a lot of this stuff, a lot of it aligns up and you're just like, a lot of it makes more sense now that I'm older and I'm actually looking into it and I understand a lot more now than I did before. But I've done horrible things, man. I still haven't told my full story yet. And it's one of those things I'm working up to. I think a lot of people are going to be eye-opened when they hear a lot of things that happen. Like there's just like things I'm not proud of I've done. But I mean, it's just like for me to tell people, like I tell little bits of things to people. And there's only some people that know the full story.
Yeah.
And when that gets out, it's just going to be is what it is. It's going to be like, oh, here you go. Here it is in a nutshell. I can't change the past. This is what I did. Here's my way of admitting guilt to what I do. Because that's the other thing I have trouble too is admitting fault for things at times. And I'm getting better at that as well. Yeah. So, and it's just, things I work through, man. And then like every time I get up and click this show and I hit live and stuff, Like there's some days that I have the roughest day possible, and I come in here and I have a great conversation, meet new people, and I'm good to go after it. And it's like a high for me afterwards because I'm like, oh, awesome, you know. And most days people don't even know how bad I struggle. I just don't. I feel like some days I just don't want 10,000 people saying, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel bad." You know what I mean? I really understand they're trying to help, but some days it's just too much for me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share something with you, if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
yeah. Go
just
ahead, bro.
because
Talk to me.
you just let a light bulb go off in my head. So first and foremost, when you mentioned about like how you have your days and then you just come on here, dude, I'm gonna tell you because Unboxed Thoughts only aired on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it was Mondays. We started off from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we ended up going from 7 to 9. Eventually, ended up turning into 2 hours, bro, and still banged out
Yeah.
another season and a half. It was great. Now, having said that, I can't express to you or have the right words for you to tell certain emotions, feelings in general, or whatever the case is, moods before coming on to certain shows when you know you're fucking 2 minutes from showtime. You felt off the rocks all day. You haven't put out one cancellation or postponement of that show or whatever. The time is clicking. And the old man would come on the other side to me and he would tell me, listen, these are the episodes you want.
Yeah.
These are the episodes that the fans or your supporters, viewers want to see because this is the real, genuine, authentic way. You're having a bad fucking day or whatever, go out there, let out. This is what it's for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, that was probably one of the most inspiring things that he could ever do for me because in all reality, I could say what I want about them because I still remember what I was feeling on some of those days. But dude, I ended up feeling so much better after that.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean, just letting everything out and knowing people were still gonna go see me in certain chats. You know what I mean, when we go to TikTok or fucking talk to me
Right.
in Discord or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? And some things happen along the fucking line. You know what I mean? But like, dude, the best episodes
Yeah.
I've ever had. You know what I mean? I'm glad I ended up doing some of them.
I actually admitted it to Lucy Lenore that I was having a rough day a couple weeks beforehand, and Lucy was like, "Listen, man, reach out whenever you want." And I think I was so taken back by somebody with such a huge following to say that she actually messages me back too. I've had people ask me that question before too. Hey, did she message you back? Oh, she messages me back all the time. Hey, buddy, what's up? How are you? And I'll check in on her and see how she's doing. And it's so interesting because it doesn't feel like anything other than just a platonic friendship, you know. And Melissa and I, which is the one that runs the unemotionally available podcast, you know, and she and I talk every day, like literally every day. Me and I have another friends, you know, and it's great. And these are all people I've met doing either their show or they know my show, and these people know my deepest, darkest secrets and stuff, and it's great because I can tell them anything, you know, and it's like I don't feel like they're going to judge me because they understand a lot of this stuff. Well, listen, more than anybody, man, you'll have a blast with her. Trust me, she's great. I'll definitely reach out to her about you being on there, man. I think you're gonna have a blast with her. You're gonna find her to be very entertaining because she's hilarious, man. I think one episode she did with another guest I had on this show, they were talking about her favorite bra. In the first 5 minutes of the conversation, she doesn't know they're recording this shit either. They're just recording us talking about this. I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? Like y'all are sharing too much here, man. We're all supposed to be friends. This is too friendly, you know, and things like that, man. And I think that's the greatest thing about this podcast is I've met so many cool people that, like, you know, me and Melissa and her and a few other people and stuff like that. You know, we're all going to meet up sometime, and it's going to be really cool to see, you know, because it's like, you know, she's like, I feel like I could hang out with you, even though we've never met in person. It's like, oh man, I feel like, you know, you're just a friend I can hang out with, and it was so great though. Darkwood has a really great comment here. It says the thing, even if you fuck up but the person appreciates you and your relationship, they forgive you. If they don't need to, they'll find any reason to be offended and the relationship. Very good point, Darkwolf. I really like that. Great comment. All right, brother, we're getting ready to wrap up here. Did you want to plug? Are you getting back on track with Unboxed Thoughts? Because I think we all need it again, man. I think you should do it.
Yeah, it's just really getting in the mindset, man. Like I remember the last shows that I was doing, and here we go, because we were just introducing it as a whole on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing this. I was holding this new event. It's called From the Beginning.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that came in that didn't get to see a lot of the Unboxed Thoughts episodes from the beginning and stuff like that, I was just getting really into that. And we ended up stopping after like 3 streams of it. And next thing you know, I just ended up getting so busy. And then one thing turned into a next. And then it's just like, I couldn't even focus on coming over here right now, even if I fucking wanted to.
Well, it's good
Because
man.
it would require me from stepping away for at least a couple of days and getting my shit right and
Yeah.
you know, all that other shit.
Well, let people know where they can find you on TikTok, man. Got to plug that, of course. Come on now.
Yeah, dude. So if you don't have me on TikTok, you can go to unboxed thoughts _1, I think it is. Hold on, man. I'm gonna give you guys the exact link.
There we go. Yeah.
Over here.
Listen, man, I have to look at mine sometimes too on Instagram because I spelt it kind of weird. Because I know there's grammar Nazis get mad, but yeah.
Yeah, so it is Snicks _unboxed thoughts.
All right, man. And I'll make sure to put it all in the video description down below. I'll make sure I double check I got everything from you. Just shoot me all anything you want added on there. I'll add it on there. You know, things like that. We'll make sure we put it in there for people to find you and stuff like that. That way they can come by and say they saw you and things like that too, man. So go show him support, man. Like he's great. Like just in this hour alone, I have never met him until now, and we've only talked by text. And it's been great, man. I enjoyed it. I love your personality. I love the energy you give off, man. Clearly, you've got something here because these people aren't here for no reason, man. All these people didn't show up for you. And you have beat the record for the most people in a live active stream. The last one was 10. You had 12 active viewers at one point in this stream alone, man. That says a lot right there.
And that wasn't even half of them. I think it was just thrown off by the time and stuff like that. But dude, I had a fun time being here. I'm glad that I came here.
I appreciate it, man.
Great
like
conversation.
I said, definitely, man. Listen, you can come back anytime you want, or you know, we'll figure this out. Maybe we'll have you come guest host with me sometime. We'll find somebody interesting and have you come in and we can pick their brain together and see what kind of interesting comments we can get out of them. You know, things like that, man. Trying to think now if there's anything else I wanted to say. It's been that kind of day, brother.
Yeah, hey, man. Anything else before we go, man? I'm all ears.
No, you're good, man. I'm thinking of anything else. No, I think we're good, guys. Actually, all right. So we're gonna wrap up this episode of Peter Society. Nick, obviously, thank you so much for coming, man. It was great. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. Like I said, I will let you know if I got anybody interesting coming.
Maybe you want to come.
Maybe you want to come in and guest star with me. You come in and we can pick some brains and find out some interesting thoughts about people. You know, all that fun stuff. But anyways, man, I'm Pete for Society. Pretty much everything. I'm X down to TikTok. I'm Pete for Society on Spotify, all the way down to iHeartRadio, guys. And as I say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you can do can save their life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete for Society saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health, guys?